Rain hit the rooftops hard that night. The streets behind Ethan's repair shop were empty, dark, and cold. But something moved near the back door. He heard it again. Soft breathing, heavy, almost like a growl. Ethan stepped outside slowly, holding a flashlight in one hand and a wrench in the other. The beam of light swept across the wet ground, trash cans, old boxes, tools. Then it stopped. Something was there. Curled up under the awning was a girl. At least she looked like a girl, but not a normal one. She had long, red hair, wet and sticking to her skin. Her arms and legs were covered in thick, red fur. A long tail moved behind her, slowly. She had sharp ears on top of her head, like a wolf, and her eyes glowed faintly yellow in the dark. She was shaking, cold, hurt, and watching him. He didn't move closer. But he didn't run either. He just asked, "Are you okay?" She didn't speak, just lowered her head back down on her arms. Her ears twitched like she was still listening, still alert. Ethan didn't know what she was. Not fully human, not just animal. Maybe something in between. An alien? He didn't know. But he couldn't leave her in the rain. He went back inside, filled a box with a blanket and a bottle of clean water, then placed it near her. She didn't move, not right away. But when he stepped back, she reached out slow, careful, and pulled the blanket close. The next morning, she was still there. And the morning after that. Every night, she curled up behind his shop. Every day, she stayed hidden when others passed. But when Ethan came out, she watched him. She started eating the food he left, drinking the water, still never speaking. But her eyes followed him, carefully, always alert. Then one day, someone tried to touch her. It was a delivery guy. Young, laughing, not thinking much. He saw her back there and thought she was wearing a costume. He walked up, smiling, and tried to take a picture with her. She jumped out. 1 second she was still. The next, she was growling, her sharp claws showing, her teeth bared. The man ran so fast he dropped his phone. Ethan came out and found her standing there, breathing heavy, fur bristling, her body between the back door and the world. He picked up the phone and placed it near the box. She stared at him, then slowly sat back down, watching. After that, Ethan made a small shelter with wooden crates and soft cloth. He didn't try to touch her, but he spoke to her every night. Simple words. Calm voice. "You're safe here. I'll leave food here. No one will bother you." She still didn't speak, but she stayed close. Always near him, always behind his shop. And when others came too close, she growled, not loud. Just enough. Just for Ethan. Then one day, something happened. Ships appeared in the sky. Not Earth ships. Something else. Fast. Sharp. Not there to talk. Not there to help. They hit the city in seconds. Lights, sirens, screams. Ethan ran to his roof. Looking up, he saw them, dark ships cutting through the sky like knives. Dropping machines, soldiers, alien troops, but that wasn't the strangest part. The girl, his werewolf girl, stood on the roof too, watching. Her body shifted. Not just a girl with fur, not just a beast, something more. Something stronger. She howled. And the howl was not just sound, it carried power. It shook windows. It echoed through the streets. From the shadows, others answered, more like her. Red eyes, fur, claws. They stepped from dark corners, from sewer tunnels, from under cars. They had been hiding in the city this whole time, and now they were waking up. Ethan looked at the girl beside him. Her glowing eyes met his. She didn't growl. She didn't speak. But something passed between them. She had been behind his shop for a reason. She was protecting something. Him. The war had started, and Ethan was not alone anymore. Ethan's hands were shaking as he looked across the burning rooftops. The alien ships kept dropping more machines, silver bots with sharp legs and glowing eyes. People screamed. Cars crashed. Fires spread through the city. But she didn't move. The werewolf girl stood tall on the roof of his shop. Her red fur blew in the wind. Her sharp ears twitched at every sound. She didn't look afraid. She looked ready. Ethan turned to her. "What are they?" Still, she said nothing. But her glowing eyes stayed fixed on the ships above. Then, she jumped. She leapt from the roof like a shadow, silent and fast. Ethan ran to the edge and saw her land on a machine below. One strong swipe of her claw ripped through the bot's metal. Head, sparks flew. The machine collapsed. Two more came running. She turned, ducked low, and leapt again. One was crushed under her feet. The other tried to stab her with a sharp arm, but she twisted and tore it apart with her bare hands. And she wasn't alone. From the shadows, other red-furred creatures ran forward. Not all looked like her. Some had bigger arms. Some ran on all fours. Some climbed walls like spiders. But all had glowing eyes. All had claws. All were fighting the machines. Ethan had never seen anything like it. Inside the shop, he grabbed his tools, a metal rod, a welding torch. He didn't know what good they'd do, but he didn't want to stand by and watch. If this was war, he wouldn't hide. He locked the shop from the front and climbed back up to the roof. From there, he could see the chaos streets filled with smoke, bots chasing people, alien soldiers firing strange weapons. But in one small alley, something was different. The werewolf girl had made a circle. She and her kind were pushing the bots back, guarding the back entrance of his shop. She was protecting it. No, she was protecting him. Ethan finally understood. She hadn't picked that spot behind his shop by accident. She had been watching, waiting. She was hiding close to something important, not the building, not the tools. But why? Suddenly, one of the alien soldiers noticed him on the roof. It pointed. Others followed. A red light flashed on Ethan's chest. He dove down just as a beam of energy sliced past his head. He hit the rooftop hard. Pain shot through his arm, but he kept moving. He rolled down the fire escape and hit the alley floor. The bots came fast. Ethan crawled toward the back door. But one of the bots leapt forward, metal claws aimed for his back. Then she was there. The girl hit the bot mid-air. It smashed against the wall. She stood over Ethan, growling louder than ever before. Her teeth showed. Her eyes glowed like fire, but this time she spoke. One word. Mine. The bot stopped. Even the aliens in the street paused like they understood her voice. Ethan stared up at her. Did you just talk? She didn't answer him, but she turned and faced the machines. Her arms spread wide, guarding him. Another group of bots charged. This time she howled. The sound cracked windows. It shook the buildings. It wasn't just loud, it was deep, like it came from the earth itself. From the rooftops, from under manholes, from broken windows, more of her kind came running. They moved like a red wave, fast, wild, and angry. They tore through the machines. They climbed walls, knocked down soldiers, and ripped weapons apart. The aliens started falling back. The machines started retreating. And in the middle of it all stood the werewolf girl, her fur glowing from the firelight, her chest rising and falling, her hands covered in sparks and oil. She looked down at Ethan, still lying on the ground. This time, she said more. You are marked. Ethan blinked. Marked? What does that mean? But she didn't explain. She looked up at the sky. More ships were coming. Bigger ones. She turned back to Ethan. You must survive. He sat up, breathing hard. I didn't ask for this. She stepped closer, eyes serious. We did. And then she walked past him toward the danger, toward the ships, toward the war. Ethan was left sitting in the alley, heart pounding, mind spinning. What did she mean? Why was he marked? Who were they? Why him? One thing was clear now. She had been hiding behind his shop for a reason, and whatever was coming next, he was part of it. Smoke covered the sky like a dark blanket. The city was no longer quiet. Explosions lit up the distance. Ships flew overhead, dropping more machines. Some buildings were on fire. Some were already gone, but behind one small repair shop there was still one safe place. Ethan sat inside, near the back door, his hands shaking. He could still hear her voice. "You are marked." He didn't know what that meant. He had never seen her before last week. He had never left Earth, never joined any army. He was just a mechanic. He fixed bikes, heaters, kitchen fans. That's all. So why was he important now? The werewolf girl had gone to fight. So had the others like her. But she had made something. Clear he must stay alive. Ethan checked the shop again. Locked every door. Moved supplies closer. Canned food, water, power cells. He didn't have weapons, but he had tools. And now he had questions too. He didn't sleep that night. The sounds outside were too loud. Every boom made the walls shake. But nothing touched the shop, and in the early morning she returned. She stepped into the alley, her fur burned in some places, one shoulder bleeding. But she stood tall, strong. Her eyes were tired, but sharp. Ethan opened the door for her. She walked in without a word and sat on the floor like she used to. But this time, she didn't curl up to sleep. She looked at him. He sat across from her. "You fought all night." She nodded once. "You saved me again." Her voice was soft. "That is my task." He leaned forward. "Why me? Why this shop?" "Who are you?" She stayed quiet for a moment, then spoke. "My name is Risha. I am a Fangborn." Ethan repeated it. Slowly. "Fangborn?" She nodded. "We are not from your world. Long ago we crashed here. We hid in the deep places of your cities. We lived in silence, watched, waited." He blinked. "For what?" She looked him in the eyes. "For you." Ethan laughed nervously. "Me? That doesn't make any sense." But she wasn't joking. "You carry a mark," she said. "It is old. It was placed on your family line many years ago, long before you were born." Ethan stood up, pacing. "No, I don't have anything. No powers. No secrets. I fix broken stuff." Risha stood too. "You fixed me?" He turned to her. "What? When I found this place, I was weak. Hunted. I was dying. But you gave me food, warmth, safety. You gave without asking. That is the mark, not magic, not weapon, just kindness. That is why we protect you." Ethan shook his head. "But what do you need me for? Why now?" She looked toward the window. "Because the old enemy has returned." Ethan remembered the ships, the bots, the alien soldiers. "Who are they?" "They are called the Varnuk," she said. "They go from world to world, cutting down life. We fought them long ago. We lost. But now they have found this world." Ethan sat down, heart pounding. "So Earth is their next target?" She nodded. "And you are our key to stopping them." He stared at her. "I still don't get it." Risha stepped closer. "You don't need to understand. You need to survive. You need to lead. When the time comes, your choice will shape everything." Ethan rubbed his face. "No pressure, huh?" But Risha didn't laugh. She looked serious. Fierce. Suddenly, a loud clang hit the back wall of the shop. Ethan jumped. Risha growled low. She moved fast, opening the back door just enough to look outside. One of the small Varnuk scout bots had found them. It crawled along the wall. Scanning the area, Risha reached for it, but before she could grab it, it fired a dart. The dart hit Ethan's arm. He cried out. Falling back, Risha grabbed the bot and crushed it in one hand. Then she rushed to Ethan. Checking his arm. His skin around the dart was turning red. Glowing slightly, Ethan gritted his teeth. What was that? Risha's eyes went wide. They marked you. He looked confused. I thought I was already marked. Not like this, she said. They know who you are now. They will come. Ethan felt his heartbeat slowing. His vision blurred. Risha picked him up in her arms like he weighed nothing. We must go. Where? He whispered. To the old tunnels, she said. Where no ships fly, where no eyes see. Ethan could barely hear her as his eyes closed. But her voice stayed calm, steady, close. I will not let them take you. Asterisk darkness surrounded them. Risha carried Ethan through the old tunnels beneath the city. The walls were wet. The air smelled like rust and dust. Pipes hissed. Rats ran along the sides. But she moved fast, quiet, strong. Ethan was half awake. His arm still burned from the dart. The red glow had spread up to his shoulder. He couldn't lift it. He couldn't feel his fingers. But he could feel Risha's arms around him, warm and careful. Where are we? He asked, voice weak. Safe path, she said. Ancient tunnels. Made before your cities. Before your machines. My people remember. Ethan blinked slowly. I feel heavy. Risha didn't stop. The Varnock poison is spreading. It marks your blood. They can track it. But they cannot follow us here. Not this deep. He closed his eyes again. I didn't ask for any of this. I know, she said. But fate doesn't ask. She reached a wide chamber deep underground. Old stone walls. Broken columns. Strange symbols on the floor glowing softly like faint blue fire. Risha laid Ethan on a bed of fur. She touched the symbols and the ground beneath them began to hum. Ethan coughed. This place, it's not human, is it? She shook her head. No, this was ours, before the crash. Before we hid. She knelt beside him, placing her clawed hand over the red glow in his arm. Ethan flinched. What are you doing? I will burn the mark out, she said. He tried to pull away. Wait, burn? But her hand began to glow with the same red. Energy, only brighter, hotter. He gritted his teeth. Pain shot through his body. His back arched. His breath caught, but then it was gone. The burning stopped. He looked at his arm. The red light was fading. The skin, though bruised, no longer glowed. She pulled her hand back, her own arm shaking now. Her fur was singed at the fingertips. You took it out, he whispered. Risha nodded once. Now they cannot find you. Ethan sat up slowly. Why risk yourself for me? You could have let me die. Risha looked at him. Her voice was soft. You are not just marked. You are chosen. He frowned. You keep saying that, but what does it mean? She sat beside him, tail curling behind her. My people once had a pact with the first humans. A long time ago, before the Varnock came. There was a warrior kind and brave. He saved one of our queens during the first invasion. That warrior wore the same mark as you. Ethan stared. So you think I'm his, what? Great-great-grandson, Risha nodded. Blood remembers. The mark returns to those who carry the same heart. He leaned back against the cold wall. I'm just a repairman, Risha. I don't even like fighting. She looked at him with glowing eyes. That is why you were chosen. Before Ethan could answer, the chamber shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Risha stood fast, sniffing the air. They found the outer gates, she growled. They dig. Ethan stood. Still weak but steady. You said they couldn't come this deep. They shouldn't be able to, she said. Unless... She turned slowly toward the back wall. There was a sound. Metal against stone, a shadow. Moved through the dark dot. Another figure stepped into the light. He looked like a man, but wrong. His skin was gray. His eyes were black, empty. His armor hummed with strange lights. A Varnock agent. But human-shaped. Ethan froze. Is that one of them? Risha snarled. A harvester. They take the shape of those they've captured. He is not alive. The harvester's voice was smooth, fake, like a broken machine trying to sound human. Give us the marked one. You will be rewarded. Ethan stepped back. I'm not going with you. The harvester tilted its head. You will come. Your blood is the key. We need it. Risha moved between them. You will not touch him. The harvester's arm unfolded into a long blade. Ethan grabbed a piece of old pipe. It shook in his hand, but he held it tight. The harvester moved too fast, but Risha was faster. She leapt, claws out. They clashed in the center of the chamber, metal against fang, sparks flying. The stone floor cracked under their feet. Ethan stood frozen, watching as Risha fought the Varnock weapon alone. Every movement was fast, deadly, silent. She was outnumbered in power, but not in will. Then the harvester knocked her back against the wall. She fell hard, growling in pain. Ethan didn't think. He ran forward, pipe in hand, and swung with all his strength. The metal hit the harvester's head with a loud clang. It turned toward him. Black eyes glowing. Then Risha jumped again, this time going for the chest. She drove her claws deep into the creature's core. It froze. Then fell apart into ash. Ethan dropped the pipe, breathing hard. That thing was hunting me. Risha was breathing heavy too. They won't stop now. He looked around the glowing chamber. Where do we go? She walked toward a dark tunnel ahead, deeper, to the last den. There, the truth will be waiting. About you. About us. About what must happen next. And without waiting, she walked into the shadows. Ethan followed her, one step at a time. The tunnel was colder now. The air was heavy and still. Old bones lay along the path, some human, some not. Ethan walked slowly behind Risha. His legs were sore. His arms still ached. But his mind was sharper now. He kept hearing her words. There. The truth will be waiting. He didn't know what that meant. He only knew one thing. The world above was falling apart, and he was somehow at the center of it. After a long walk, they reached a gate. It was carved from stone. Strange writing covered it, glowing symbols that looked like stars, claws and blood drops. Risha placed her hand on the center. A deep sound echoed. The gate opened. Inside was a chamber so large it made Ethan stop in awe. The ceiling reached so high it disappeared into mist. Blue flames floated in the air. Carvings told stories on the walls, ancient battles, creatures like Risha, and humans standing beside them. There were others waiting, more fangborn, older, bigger, wiser. One stepped forward. Her fur was silver. Her face had scars. Her eyes burned. Bright blue. She spoke in a calm, powerful voice. Is this the one? Risha nodded. He carries the mark. He has proven himself. The silver-furred one stepped closer to Ethan. She sniffed the air, then gently touched his chest. His heart is steady, she said. He is ready. Ethan raised his hands. Hold on. Can someone tell me what exactly I'm ready for? Risha stood beside him now. You are the last link. The line that ties our past to Earth's future. Ethan shook his head. That sounds big. I'm not special. The silver one looked into his eyes. You are not a weapon. You are a choice. He frowned. What kind of choice? She turned toward the wall and pointed at a carving. Thousands of years ago, When the Varnock first came to our world, your kind stood with us. A bond was made between one human leader and our queen. He swore that if the Varnock ever returned, his blood would rise again to lead the alliance. Risha added softly, "You are that blood." Ethan stared at the carving. It showed a human man holding hands with a fang-born queen. Light surrounded them. Behind them stood armies, humans, and werewolves united. I never heard of this in any history. "Look," he muttered. "Because it was hidden," the Silver One said. "To protect you." Risha stepped closer. "We didn't think the Varnock would return so soon. We were not ready. But your kindness woke the mark inside you. You helped me, and the blood bond remembered." Ethan looked down at his hands. "So, what do you want me to do?" "You must choose," the Silver One said. "Stay hidden, or rise and call the old alliance again." Ethan's heart beat faster. "And if I call it?" "Then we rise with you," she said. "Not just Fangborn. Others will come. Old friends. Lost allies. But they wait for a signal." Ethan took a deep breath. "And what if I choose to run?" "Then this world falls," she said simply, "and the Varnock take everything." He looked at Risha. She didn't push him. She just stood close, quiet, watching his eyes. Ethan thought of the shop. The alley. The nights she slept outside, guarding him. The way she fought. The way she bled. The way she said, "You must survive." He nodded slowly. "I'll do it. I'll call them." The chamber fell silent. The Silver One turned and walked to a large stone table. She pulled out an old box. Inside was a blade-thin, glowing blue, shaped like a claw. "Place your hand on the stone," she said. Ethan stepped forward, heart pounding. He placed his hand on the cold surface. She pressed the edge of the blade to his palm. Pain flashed. Blood dripped. The carvings on the walls lit up. A deep hum filled the air. From high above, a blue flame dropped toward him and touched his chest. Ethan gasped. He felt something inside him unlock. A rush of memories that weren't his. Images of the First War. The bond. The promise. He saw Risha, her ancestors. He saw the Varnock burning planets, and then he saw hope. When it ended, he fell back. Risha caught him. "You carry the signal now," she whispered. "They will hear you." Ethan's eyes glowed faintly blue. A voice inside him said, "They are coming," but far above. The sky cracked again. More ships. More war. The Varnock would not wait. And Ethan was no longer just a mechanic. The sky above Earth was no longer blue. Varnock. Warships covered the sky like giant metal clouds. Their machines dropped from the air like rain. Cities burned. People ran. Some fought. Most hid. But far below, in the ancient chambers, a signal had been lit. And Ethan was no longer hiding. He stood now on the edge of a cliff inside the Fangborn's deepest den, wearing simple armor given to him by Risha's people. His hands still burned from the blood ritual. The blue light from his chest now pulsed like a heartbeat. Risha stood beside him, her fur clean, her eyes sharp. Her people gathered behind them, warriors, scouts, mothers, even younglings. All ready. She looked at him. "They will answer soon. The old ones, the hidden ones, they heard your call." Ethan nodded. "And if they don't? Then we fight alone," she said without fear. "As we always have." A deep growl echoed through the cavern. Then a voice low and strange filled the air. "We heard." From the shadows shapes moved, not just Fangborn, other kinds. Tall beings with glowing hands. Small armored ones with insect legs, feathered hunters. Gray-skinned giants with 4 eyes, dozens. Then hundreds. All aliens. All forgotten allies. They had waited for the signal. And now they had come. One stepped forward and bowed to Ethan. "We remember the pact." We stand with the marked one. Ethan looked around. So many lives, so much history. And all of it was now in his hands. He took a deep breath. Then let's take our world back. The tunnels shook. Risha turned her head. They're breaking. Through. Ethan ran to the entrance. The Varnock were digging fast. A wall cracked. Light poured in. Form the lines. Risha shouted. The Fangborn moved like lightning. Claws ready. Eyes glowing. Ethan stood at the front, heart pounding. The Varnock harvesters were first those human-shaped machines with dead eyes. Then came the bots. Then soldiers, all heading for him. He didn't move. He raised his arm, and the mark on his chest lit up like fire. The signal blasted forward like a wave. The enemy stopped, confused. That's when the allies attacked. From every corner, the hidden races launched forward. The battle began. Ethan fought with whatever he had: metal rods, tools, scraps turned to weapons. Risha never left his side. She fought like a storm, leaping, tearing, howling. The chamber became fire and light and shadow, screams, sparks, dust, but something was wrong. More Varnock ships were coming. Too many. Ethan looked up. We can't stop them all. Risha turned to him. We don't need to stop them all. Just one. She pointed at the sky. A command ship. Kill it, and they fall apart. Ethan nodded. Can we reach it? She smiled. I know a way. She grabbed his hand, and together they ran. Through the ruins, up a secret path. Through a broken tunnel that reached high above the city. An old Fangborn launch bay. A ship was waiting round, old, but still working. Risha jumped in. You fly, I guard. Ethan took the controls. I've never flown anything like this. She looked at him, calm. Then trust me like I trusted you. He smiled. All right then, let's fly. The ship lifted. Outside, the sky was war. Flames. Lasers. Falling buildings. But Ethan flew fast, dodging debris, passing through smoke. Risha fired the ship's weapons, clearing the path. The Varnock command ship hovered above the city center. It was massive. Covered in spikes and moving towers. Ethan aimed for its center. We hit the core. That's where it controls the hive. Risha looked at him. And if we miss? He tightened his grip. We don't. The ship raced forward. Varnock cannons. Fired. One blast hit their wing. They spun. Alarm screamed. Risha grabbed his shoulder. Now. Ethan slammed the trigger. The ship's final weapon fired, an old energy bomb powered by the mark. It flew straight, glowing blue, cutting through the air like a comet. It hit. The command ship cracked open like glass. A wave of white light burst out, spreading across the sky. Every Varnock bot stopped, froze, then fell. The noise faded. The sky cleared. The war was over. Ethan woke hours later, lying in the dirt near the wreck. Smoke drifted in the air, but the stars were visible again. Risha sat beside him. Bruised, tired, but alive. He smiled. Did we win? She nodded. Because of you. He sat up. Slowly. I'm just a guy who runs a shop. She touched his chest. No. You are the one who let a lost girl sleep behind your door when no one else would. That's why the mark chose you. He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time, she smiled. A real smile. She stood and reached out a hand. Come on, shopkeeper, the world is waiting. He took her hand. And together, they walked into the morning light.